Yeah, it's real. I mean, if you're watching it on TV, you can see the guys dripping sweat on the mound, and how that affects grip is a real thing. So, something that we got to get used to, though. And I just talked to the position players about just understanding this is what we're going to be in for a little bit. I mean, we're going to go home to Baltimore here. I think it's on Monday against the Rangers. And I looked at the forecast this morning. It was 100. And knowing that Baltimore 100 might be hotter than this 92 right here. So we got to kind of wrap our minds around it. We will get used to it, and we'll play better in it.
How much did that play into the fact of Sanchez's 2 throws at second base?
Possibly. I mean, the same. You never know. I mean, it's hard to know if the ball slipped or not. I'd probably prefer to think more about the pitch out called and throwing the guy to second base in a huge spot. So made a great throw right there, and that's probably the one I'd more think about.
After a game like yesterday, is there a specific message in the clubhouse today, or the guys kind of know what they have to do to respond?
Yeah, I think if every day I got to rally the troops and have a team meeting and give a message, I don't know if it's the right guys. So we definitely don't need that with these guys. They know. I just in the hitters meeting just now. It's energetic. They're laughing. They're talking. They're trying to figure out how to beat Rasmussen right now. So as I saw those guys walk in, there's no concern for me.
The state of the bullpen right now after they carried a lot of innings yesterday?
I mean, at what you would think, when you got, starter that goes 5, and then 2+. I mean, they're in the same boat a little bit. They're probably a little better situated. I think they made a move today. But, we need Charlie to go today. So we're kind of in that spot. Charlie's been in this situation before. And, to go into a game where you're short in the bullpen in the big leagues on a nightly basis, probably more usual than unusual. I think, for people out there trying to manage along and figure out you're going to use this guy, you're going to use that guy, when you have a full clip in the bullpen every night, meaning every guy's available, it is really rare. It doesn't happen very often. So something that we're accustomed to, but, definitely something that is a little bit of a concern going into the night.
You said the other day, even when you were 18 below 500, you saw belief. What is it about this club that it makes you think it's unshakable? It gives you confidence in what they're doing?
They've won a lot of games the last couple of years, and they're young and they're energetic, but it probably just goes back to being in the playoffs for 2 straight years. And, going back to 22, a team that had a winning record as well. So, these players have won. They've won a lot of games. They're winners. They know that we've dug a pretty deep hole, and they know that pretty much every day our back's up against the wall, and we got to do everything we can to win every game.
Speaking of Rasmussen, what does he present that's a challenge?
Big stuff, man. I mean, it's a good fastball. It's the breaking ball. It's a short arm. It's quick. He gets on you. It's big stuff. He's tough. But you know what? All these guys in this rotation have big stuff. So, if you had to pick out one guy you didn't want to face in this rotation, I don't know if you can, because they're all so good. So every night against the Rays is going to be a challenge this year. We know that. We're up to the challenge.
Is there anything new with Tyler O'Neill?
Still, he's progressing. I think he should be hitting baseball activities here sooner than later. So he had the shot last week, had the PRP shot in his shoulder. Did that. Doctors felt like that was the best course of action. There's a little bit of a down period you're going to have after that, and then eventually he'll kind of resume the baseball portion of his rehab, which is, swinging the bat, throwing, kind of doing fielding activity. So I don't know exactly where he's at, but if he's not there yet, he'll probably be getting close here sooner or later.
Did they make him go on a sling after the PRP?
I have no idea. No. Actually, I do know, because I saw him in the dugout Sunday, and he was not. So I would assume no.
What have you seen over the past couple of weeks with Yenny or Cano, and what, if anything, can you do or he do to get him back on track?
Yeah, just up and down all year. There's been some really good moments with Yenny this year. And there's been a few bad moments. And I think what happens a little bit with guys like Yenny, when expectations are so high, when he does have a bad moment, it just really sticks out, and it's tough to kind of grasp it. Yenny had a bad night. I think as we find good pockets for him, and good right-handed pockets, I think he'll continue to go. I do think that here recently, up until last night, he's handled some left-handed hitters a little bit better than we had saw in some of his worst of times, I guess. So, tough night last night. Do we feel optimistic about Yenny? Absolutely.
You have 4 games here, then you go to New York, life in the AL East, you're used to it. The Rays are used to it too. What kind of edge does that give you to have that kind of, competition for most of the season and just have to push through that, and nobody's going to feel sorry for you? You got to face these guys all the time.
Yeah, it's the big leagues. I mean, nobody does feel sorry for you. I mean, there's people all around the industry loving, when we dropped 18 games under 500 and we were getting our teeth kicked in every night. People loved it. And a couple years ago when, the Yankees were struggling a couple years ago, we didn't feel sorry for them. So I just think that's life in the AL East, like you said. I think the big leagues are hard. I think there's a lot of parity right now. You kind of look at the records in the American League. There's a lot of teams that are 500, which means there's a lot of good competitive teams, which also means that, we're still in this thing a little bit. because that's kind of where that sweet spot is right now in the American League. So the schedule doesn't get any easier, by any means. I mean, it's just getting harder by the day. But, our guys are battle tested. They've won in Yankee Stadium. They beat these guys before. We're confident in ourselves.
Is there something to be said about this division that you mentioned it there? If you look back over the past 3, 4, 5 years, basically every team in the division has had an underwhelming season, a last place season. Is that maybe because of just how much this division can beat the other teams up?
I would probably tie health to it, right? So, as you go through those years and see, the teams that had down years, my guess is a lot of it's health-related. So, and I'm, this team right here last year, they played a little bit different than they're playing right now. Look at all the pitching they had down last year versus what they have this year. So, it's kind of the ebb and flow of the big leagues. It's why, player health and medical staffs are so robust now, and why it's such an important part of the game. The more your best players are on the field, the better your team's going to be.